We got big news out there with RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., going to make a major campaign announcement tomorrow. We're going to talk about what that looks like. We got Russia demanding U.S. ambassador answer for U.S. troops being inside Russia. Yeah, that's not a big deal at all, is it? U.S. aircraft carrier arrives in the Middle East. We got MPOX updates. We got drone attacks. We got an oil tanker on fire. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are news updates from around the world to keep you informed on what's going on out there. If you appreciate these updates, please make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And of course, you can give us updates on what you guys are seeing out where you are by using the word update in your comment. So the second U.S. aircraft carrier, the Abraham Lincoln, has been transferred to CENTCOM, or U.S. Central Command. The world is carved up into different command centers, and the United States' Abraham Lincoln carrier has just arrived in the Middle East and is now part of CENTCOM. It is approaching Iran and Yemen from the east. It transited the Strait of Malacca last Friday, which is basically where Singapore is, between Malaysia and Indonesia. There's the Strait of Malacca there. So we do know when it crossed there on Friday, so it should be pretty close to Iran. Of course, that is joining the, the Roosevelt there. I believe it's the Teddy Roosevelt that is on station already. That is 2 U.S. carriers off the coast of Iran. Not sure. The other one's supposed to be going home soon. We'll see if it stays on station for a while or what. Of course, we're waiting for Iran to do their major counterstrike to Israel still. No word on if or when that may still happen. CNN and other news sources are saying that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is planning on not only suspending his campaign on Friday, which is tomorrow morning, in Phoenix. He is scheduled to make a speech where he will, as they're saying now, will address the nation. It seems like he is going to be endorsing Donald Trump for president. Of course, that's going to shake things up a little bit out there, but not as much as some people are anticipating. And the reason for that is, though we have all these polls going on out there, the Democrats have worked very tirelessly to make sure that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. cannot appear on the ballot in most states. So that has been a contentious issue, and one of the reasons why it seems like RFK is going to suspend his campaign is because of all the nasty things that the Democrats have done to him in order to keep him off the ballot. But because of that, it seems like more and more the people that are supporting RFK are actually more Republican leaning. And so this is, they're realizing that they're probably going to be hurting Donald Trump more by staying in the race than hurting Kamala Harris. So we'll see what happens tomorrow morning. We also have President Trump is supposed to be giving a speech like in the evening, Friday evening, in Phoenix as well. So might be just be RFK gives his speech, resigning in the morning, and then appears with Donald Trump in the afternoon, evening. That's very possible. All right, we reported on it yesterday, but the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which happened to be off by 818,000 jobs, or rounded up to 1 million. Not only did they get that wrong, but they also put out their report 37 minutes late. And I'm going to tell you, Wall Street, the banks, traders, everyone was watching their website. Everyone's sitting there ready with their buy orders, their sell orders, to trade the news as it came out. And when it came time for the news, nothing happened. They didn't put it out. And everyone was waiting. Everyone was waiting. A few banks apparently got on the phone and called up the Department of Labor Statistics and asked them what the numbers were. And the crazy thing is that they, over the phone, told some of these banks. So everyone out there is waiting for these numbers to come out so they can start trading. And a few of the banks got the information to start trading before everyone else, which is not how things are supposed to work. So people on Wall Street, banks, they're pretty livid. They're livid that they gave basically insider information, insider trading information to just a few banks to make a whole bunch of money at the expense of everyone else. Not only did they get that completely wrong, the number, but then the way they gave out the number, 37 minutes late, they only had what? This is numbers for 2023. And I don't know if you checked the calendar recently, but it's August. Like, we're about to start having Halloween stuff going on right now. Pumpkin spice is hitting the shelves. And yet the federal government, over $700 million department that basically comes up with just a few figures, has finally supposed to come out with this report, and yet they somehow managed to be 37 minutes late. Anyway, so this is so outrageous that the Commerce Secretary, Raimondo, was asked at the DNC, Democratic National Convention, on the floor. She was asked about the numbers, and she said she didn't believe the revision because Trump said them. Wait, what? Like, I don't know if you know this, but the Bureau of Labor Statistics is under the Secretary of Commerce. So she's their boss. And she's like, I don't know that, I don't believe those numbers. What? Your department came up with those numbers. And so the ABC reporter reminded her that the Bureau of Labor Statistics is in her department. And she said, I'm not familiar with that. You have to ask the question, what in the world are you familiar with? Like, what? Imagine the Secretary of Defense being told that the Space Force is real, and them going, I'm not familiar with that. Like, when one of your departments, you don't know that it exists, that's a problem. You're probably a bad boss. You're probably a bad boss if you don't even know the departments and the organizations underneath you. The entire stock market was all sitting around waiting for these numbers to come out, and the Commerce Secretary doesn't know about this, even a day later. Absolutely outrageous and insane. Ukraine, moving over to Ukraine, they launched the largest drone attack on Moscow ever. And they also attacked other sites across the Russia, including the Olenya Air Base in Murmansk, which, if you're not familiar with geography, which I'm going to admit I wasn't either, I Googled it. Murmansk is, it's all the way at the top of Russia. It's in the Arctic Circle, or very close to the Arctic Circle. It's like up against Finland. There's no way a drone went from Ukraine up to Murmansk. It's just not possible. So the question is where was that drone launched from? It's up against the Finnish border. Kind of looks like it came from Finland. And it attacked the air base up there. So what just happened? That is something that we may hear more about in the coming days. On a whole separate issue, Russia has summoned the U.S. ambassador in Moscow over U.S. mercenary groups participating in the invasion of Russia. Should we be concerned about that? We should probably be concerned about that. in the offensive in the Kursk Oblast. Apparently, U.S. direct participation in the Ukrainian conflict, as well as, and there was a CNN crew that decided to go into Russia too, which I'm still not sure how I feel about that. That's kind of one of those situations where it's just like, did that happen? Apparently it happened, and should that have happened? I don't know. I mean, when you invade another country and they invade you back, it's kind of fair play, right? I mean, that's just, I think we can understand that if you're bombing another country, if you're invading another country, them doing it back to you is kind of like, everyone kind of looks at it and goes, yeah, you kind of had that coming. You kind of had that coming. But it's another thing when it's United States citizens and U.S. mercenary groups crossing the border and CNN going along and shooting their propaganda films as they go. That's kind of a little different. Moving down south to off the coast of Yemen, a ship was struck 3 times with projectiles off the coast of Yemen, caused a fire on board, and caused them to lose engine power. It has been identified as a Greek flagged oil tanker, an oil tanker. Before the projectiles hit, the crew exchanged gunfire with 2 small vessels that approached. The ship now remains adrift. They have not been able to get the ship under power again. There were no crew casualties at this time that we are hearing about. So they were able to fend off the pirates, and then apparently they got missiles fired at them, and it took out the engine and started a fire on board. If you're on an oil tanker and you're exchanging gunfire with pirates and terrorists, and then have a fire on board because you're getting hit by missiles, like, I don't know how you get paid enough to do that. I don't. Outside of a war, if you're serving your country, that's one thing. But if you're just getting paid to get shot at, that's a whole nother thing. Heavy fighting in the city of Karbala, Iraq. And this is important, friends. When you hear this is important. If you're like Armageddon and the Valley of Megiddo and you're into prophecy and stuff like that, well, the Muslims have prophecy too. And in the city of Karbala, this is a big deal. Major gunfighting between the Iraqi army and Iranian militias. And why it's so important is Karbala was the place of martyrdom for Imam Hussein. And there's a mosque there that's like really linked to the coming of the Mahdi. Mahdi is the Iranian government is all about setting up the world in such a way so that the Mahdi comes, and kind of like their Messiah, kind of like Jesus' return, but like different. He's going to come and he's going to rule over the earth, but they need to get things prepared for him. And one of the things they need to do is they need to destroy Israel in order to get things ready for him. But one of the things is the Mahdi is returning because he was here before, apparently. And one of the places that he prayed was at the mosque in Karbala. So it has some pretty high prophetic symbolism or prophetic meaning to the Iranians. And so the Iranian militias trying to take it over away from the Iraqi army is something that should raise your eyebrows just a little bit. Now, I wanted to get in a little more specifics about what exactly the connection is to their prophecies and stuff like that. But that was, any further research was going to require me to watch a whole bunch of sermons by radical jihadis, and I'm already on enough radars as it is, so I decided not to do that. But I gave you the ballpark of it. Iran is very, very concerned about preparing the world so that the Mahdi can return. Moving over to, let's talk about the semaglutides, Wegovy and Ozempic. A new study out has tied the semaglutides to increase in incidence of people considering self-harm and actually taking action on self-harm. So semaglutides seem to be linked to a 45% chance increase that person will take action on self-harm. That's a pretty big statistic. Now, these researchers utilize the WHO, or the World Health Organization's database, to aggregate data on incidents of self-harm versus people using these new diabetic drugs for weight loss or whatever else. That is big news out there, so I'm sure there will be follow-up studies. So if you're on those, or if you know people that are on those, just be aware of that. Be aware of that, and especially if you know people who are on that that are depressed or something along those lines. Make sure that they are getting the medical help they need, and make sure that you're staying in contact with them. Mpox updates. We now have a confirmed case here in Detroit. So in the U.S., that's the first confirmed case. There have been suspected cases, but this is the first one in Detroit. Thailand now has a confirmed case as well. It is now in 12 countries and is spreading. Once again, this is not the old Mpox. This is a new variant that has come out of Congo, which is much more infectious, but is relatively similar in fatalities and such. Oil field in firm Halliburton, guess what? They do not have mercenaries in Russia that we know of. But Halliburton, being an oil field supplier, was hit by a cyber attack. Now, they were one of the largest oil field services firm worldwide, providing drilling services and equipment to 70 countries. But they have about 48,000 employees. So hopefully this does not impact oil production in the United States or elsewhere. But major cyber attack that we will see how that's going to impact things going forward. An office building in Philadelphia has just been appraised at 25% less than 2021. Now, we've seen others marked down by as much as 50% on trying to sell things, but this is one of the first that has been appraised downwards. It's a major office building, 1 million square foot building, office space. It was dropped in value from $282 million down to $211 million. And we're seeing this across the board. Office buildings are just not able to get rents. They're not able to get people in and tenants in because people just staying at home. The work from home thing is a big deal, and it's impacting these major pieces of real estate that are owned by banks, and this is impacting the bottom line. All right, friends, we'll keep you guys up to date on things that come out as they come out. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.